This is Kashmiri tea, aka Nun Tea, aka Gulabi Chai, aka Pink Tea, aka Qaimak Chai. It has a lot of names. This is a drink originating from Kashmir, which is a region in northern part of India and Pakistan. But people drink it in many other parts of Pakistan, India and Afghanistan. People usually drink it as a novelty. Its color comes from the green tea leaves that have been cooked with baking soda, which brings out the pink color. It is then aerated by pouring it from high place to deepen the color. Milk or cream is then added and sweetened and then served with pistachios and almonds on top. I read that the tea that Kashmiris drink in Kashmir is actually salty and not sweet at all, but I couldn't find any videos for it. So what I'm making in this video is the novelty kind and not the original one. Let's start with the tea. I'm using this green tea that is made specifically for Kashmiri tea, but I've tried other green teas as well, like this one. It also works with green tea bags, but the flavor will be different between all of them. I have 2 cups of water that I'm going to be boiling with 2 tablespoons of green tea. I've also added few spices that are typically added for. I added 4 green cardamom, 1 small piece of cinnamon, 1 star anise, and 1 clove. These spices are optional and you can add or remove as you wish. I added about 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda. This is what works with the tea that I'm using. If you use a different tea, you might have to increase or decrease the baking soda. Once this cooks a little bit, you will see if you need to add more or less. At this point, just add 1/8 of a teaspoon. Let the tea boil with the baking soda until almost all the liquid is gone. You will start seeing the pink shade in the froth already at this point. The tea turns pink when you raise the pH level of the tea, similar to how litmus test strips work. Baking soda is a very basic solution which will raise the pH level. In the meantime, you can chop your nuts. I didn't have pistachios, so I used almonds and cashews. Make sure to chop these very fine. If they're not very fine, they will just sink in the tea, which totally did not happen to me at all, of course. Anyways, when most of the water has evaporated, you will see that the tea has become very pink. So at this point, add about 1.5 cups of water. Now the next step is pretty important in my opinion. I've tested this recipe with and without the next step and the difference was pretty significant. The next step is to aerate the tea by exposing it to oxygen as much as possible. So there are a couple of ways of doing this. One is to just use a ladle and just pour the tea from a higher up. As I'm doing this, you can see it splashes everywhere and gets pretty messy. Another way is to just pour the tea from pot to pot inside your sink. This way is a lot cleaner. Also, it makes a very satisfying sound. Do this for about 5 minutes and put it back on the stove. I also added about 1/4 cup of milk. That wasn't enough, so I added 1/4 cup more. Ideally, you should be using half and half or heavy whipping cream, but you can do what I'm doing and use whole milk and some dry milk powder. This is the brand that I used. I also added about 3 tablespoons of sugar, which is the level of sweetness that I like. You can adjust as necessary. Once it comes to a boil, it's ready to serve. Use a strainer and pour into cups, then add your nuts on top. The bigger pieces sank for me, but the smaller pieces did stay on the top. Flavor wise, it's pretty similar to green tea, but it has a little bit of saltiness from the baking soda. I would recommend that you try this out. It's pretty cool. Also, thank you for watching and subscribe if you liked the video.